Hey everyone, Cal Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. We are still on that preseason budget, so we are we're in Ann Arbor for the game. Yeah, but some big takeaways from this game, Justin, in the 22-17 victory against Jacksonville. These third preseason games are typically all about the starters and getting them a long look. And I think there are two words everyone's going to be talking about tomorrow, which is Zach Zenner.
Never heard of him. Are you off the George Wynn train? Are you fully committed to Zach Zenner at this point?
As a politician would say, my opinion has evolved on the matter.
Okay, I think this was an evolution of even his performance thus far. I think we saw a bit more power running from Zenner, little break tackles, power through some guys. That touchdown run was something impressive. You know, he got hit at the 3-yard line and moved the whole pile along with him to the goal line for the game touchdown.
He carried 3 guys into the end zone.
Yeah. So I think Zenner locked up his spot with this performance. I know that's kind of a bold statement, but that's 3 in a row. It's gotten progressively better for him, and I think they can't afford to cut him any longer. Yeah,
well, he showed the power at that touchdown run. I was almost more impressed by the speed he showed getting around the edge earlier in the game, and that run earlier in the game, the 41-yarder that came against ones. Like that's the real deal. And Jacksonville's not a good team, but they do have some players on defense. That's a big time play right there. And I think he's a guy who showed today that he can rush against an NFL defense. Again, my opinion. I mean, I joked about it, but my opinion has evolved. Coming into camp, I think Wynn was the guy. He was. The Lions knew what they were going to get from him. He's a hard hitter, a sure thing in pass pro, could play special teams, all this stuff. Zenner had some buzz, but he's also coming from South Dakota State, so no one really knew what to expect from him. Well, now we know he's a guy who's going to improve every week. That's something Caldwell said. Every week that we've talked to him about Zenner is that he keeps getting better. We've seen it as a rusher. He came in there today, second series, first carry, 8 yards, 8 very hard-earned yards. I think he's locked up a spot. There were, and I know you've heard some of the similar things, Justin, but there were fears in the organization before this game that if they were to cut Zenner, he might not make it to the practice squad. This only amplifies those concerns, I think. I think he's definitely sticking.
I don't even think Wynn had that bad of a game. He had a couple first downs. He had an early power run on a third down, picked up a first down on a pass on third down. He's also practice squad eligible, though. End of the day, we're talking about the 4th running back on the roster. If you don't mind, I'm going to spin it to somebody a little bit more important to the offense. Matthew Stafford has been fabulous in this preseason. I understand vanilla defenses for the most part. This is a guy that has a near perfect passer rating for the preseason. 3 touchdowns, completing I don't know the number, but I think it's over 70% of his passes at this point. No picks, very few bad throws. It's been good all off season, and I've been saying in the radio interviews I've been doing around the country, I think after years of talking about it, years of expecting, I think this is the year where Stafford's going to turn the corner. Not an elite quarterback, but he's going to take a step up, in tier.
Yeah, I get asked a lot about Stafford as well, and the thing I always say is that I don't think he'll ever be Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he'll ever be Tom Brady. I don't think he'll ever be Peyton Manning. I don't think he'll be on that plane. But he's a good quarterback with great skills. And I think if you put the right guys around him in the right situation, he's a quarterback who can win you games. I believe firmly he's a quarterback who can win you playoff games, and you can make a playoff run with a guy like Stafford. But you have to have the right situation around him, and that's what I look at. I think he has the right situation this year with a healthy Calvin Johnson, who we haven't even seen yet, and Stafford's still doing all this stuff. You got Golden Tate doing his thing. I think Eric Ebron's emerging as that third wideout. The running game I anticipate will be better than it was last year. The offensive line is markedly better. We haven't even talked about Laken Tomlinson yet. I think he's going to be a huge upgrade at left guard. Yep. And you have the second year of the scheme, and we can beat that like a dead horse. But it's true that everyone is more comfortable. They're more comfortable in their assignments. They know the offense. Everyone's on the same page. I think
Golden Tate looks great.
I think this offense is on the precipice of being very good.
Yep, I agree. I've been saying top 10. I think they could even crawl back into the ballpark of top 5, where they were with Lynn. No, I mean
serving the takes hot.
The pieces are all there. We've seen Abdullah. I think he's a talented runner. I don't think he's going to be that guy that had the 45-yard carry in the first game, but he's a nice complement that could fill what Reggie Bush was doing. I expect Joique Bell to come back and healthy. Theo Riddick's going to have a better year as a receiver. I still say Calvin Johnson looks the best I've seen him health-wise in 3 years. And look at Golden Tate's going off in the preseason. So there's so many pieces there. If Stafford's going to be accurate, if the line's going to be better and give him more time in the pocket, there's no reason this offense shouldn't be one of the best in the NFL. One of the best in the NFL.
I talked to Calvin Johnson at the Super Bowl back in February, the week of the Super Bowl, and he had said, man, this is the first time in years I haven't had to have postseason surgery. I have nothing really nagging me. I mean, last season was hard for him, but he finished it kind of healthy. This was an off season where he could just focus on rest, getting his body right, being him, and then getting better at football, which is a scary proposition. And it's proven to be true throughout every stage of the offseason. He looks like he's way ahead of where he was last year. I know fans haven't seen him yet, but he's doing special things in practice. I anticipate he'll have a very good year for the offense.
I think the way I've been describing it is he's kind of had this fire in his eyes. This is a guy that people are doubting. They're talking about his 30th birthday. They're talking about the injuries. And Calvin isn't the type of guy that's going to say, oh, that motivates me, that drives me. But he's going to internalize it and he's going to use it as fuel. He's playing with a certain passion in practice. He's diving for balls, which, he always makes those catches in games, but he's usually a little bit smarter than that, a little bit more reserved and controlled in practice. He's going all out in practice. He's ready to show people that the old man can still play. The old man at 29.
We like what we see from the offense. We still haven't seen the best receiver in Calvin Johnson, and we still haven't seen who is, in my opinion, still the best tailback, Joyke Bell. So I think this offense can be very good once it puts it all together. Flipping around to the defense, more concerning with what we saw tonight, Justin, but also they were shorthanded, missing 5 of the 7 guys from the front 7, and also Tahir Whitehead didn't start. So really, it was 6 of the potential starters you have up front, and it looked like it. They just couldn't get off the field. The third down defense was a mess, and that's been a strength for the Lions the past couple of years, but just couldn't get off the field against Bortles. The linebackers really chewed up. I think it's really more of a symptom of having Travis Lewis out there and Josh Bynes as opposed to DeAndre Levy and Tahir Whitehead, who are significantly better. But still, you can't like what you've seen from the defense against the Jaguars.
Yeah, the lack of starters hurt, but still the number one thing for me, it's been the number one thing all off-season, I've talked about the defense, is where's that pass rush going to come from? You saw a little bit from Phil Hunt. I think he's done a nice job taking another step forward to deserving a roster spot. I think Tyron Walker looks like a guy that he's going to push the pocket maybe more than I thought when he got here. Where else? Yeah. Nowhere in this game. I know Ezekiel Ansah was out. I know Karan Reed was out. I understand Haloti Ngata was out. We don't know what Haloti Ngata offers. I mean, until he gets on the field and shows what he can offer in a one-gap scheme, we don't know about his ability to get upfield. They obviously miss Sue. That was a given. We'll see how much they miss him when all those pieces get back. But if the quarterback is going to have as much time as Blake Bortles had in the pocket, look what Bortles did. And Bortles is a good young quarterback. He's not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will murder this team. I mean, he will just slice and dice the secondary up. I don't care. All 4 of those guys are out there. You saw those 4 guys out there today. They struggled when there was no pressure on the pocket.
Yeah, nothing from Devin Taylor. I was kind of disappointed by that because he's had some nice moments in practice. Larry Webster, that's a name I didn't hear all night.
Joe.
Yeah, I think there's some guys in the bubble there, not really sure what's going to shake out. Even in the secondary, I thought the struggles were there tonight with even Rasheed Mathis, who I think he's had a very good camp under the radar because we look so much at Kelvin, what Kelvin's doing in those matchups. But Mathis has held his own. He's been in his grill, and against a human, Mathis breaks up a lot more passes when he does in camp going up against Kelvin. But tonight, he gave up the touchdown pass in the first series, was called for a pass interference in the second series. Some of that might be a symptom of no pass rush up front, but the old man's got to be a little better too. Just not a good. Adibot had a couple of mistakes. Glover Quinn had a mistake. Bad angles from the linebackers. We saw Travis Lewis get abused in pass coverage. There's some major issues I thought on defense.
Yeah, I look at Mathis's game and I say inconsistent, maybe bad. I thought the touchdown he gave up was Quinn abandoned him on the play action, bit hard, and left him with no safety help that he would have expected on a post route there. The pass interference call, borderline. He got flagged for it. It counts the same. Well, it doesn't count because it's the preseason, but still got to turn your head. Face guarding is illegal, but once you make but once you make that contact, it's a 50-50 call, and you just have to be careful of something like that. I thought Slay played all right. I thought Hedebo, continues to look good, fill in the run lanes, still a formidable blitzer, but it's all going to boil down to the pass rush. I mean, we'll say it over and over and over this year. If this defense falls apart and takes a massive step back, it's because they're just not getting pressure on the quarterback.
On special teams, the Lions still searching for somebody to emerge in that kick returner and punt returner battle.
Yeah.
Trying out Amir Abdullah as the first kick returner tonight. Gave him 3 or 4 tries at it just to get an attempt. 22 yards in his one attempt. Just knowing it's the same. It's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
No one's looked terrible necessarily, but no one separated himself either in that battle, which creates some very interesting roster situations going forward with Jeremy Ross. Kind of quiet night from him as a receiver, and Lions still exploring options at those returner jobs. So it'll be interesting to see how those shake out. It was interesting to me in the first half tonight, Justin, to see Greg Salas getting some run and no Ryan Broyles.
None.
It's again another signpost to me that if Broyles is on the bubble, he's on the wrong side of it, and I'm not even sure if he's on the bubble at this point.
Yeah. Probably you were writing. Ross did make one pretty spectacular grab. It was a 34-yarder.
In the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, wheel route over the shoulder.
Third stringers, right?
Against again, I mean, your point is taken.
Yeah.
It was Salas getting that run today, but he didn't do much. Fuller didn't do much. He had the touchdown grab, but dropped another third down reception in the third quarter. Nobody separated themselves. I think Lance Moore, did he have anything beyond the one reception early in the game? It's still the Golden Tate and Calvin Judge show, which is a great show. I love it. I tune in every week. But it just says to me more than anything, Eric Ebron has to step up and take that role. He didn't play tonight. Caldwell said he's okay. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's dealing with something minor.
Yeah. He was back running around the other day, and I don't think it's too serious with him.
Yeah, no reason to push injuries at this stage of the off season, even if it's the preseason games. But he has to step up and fill that third role this year. I'm not convinced any of these guys and the receivers are going to be that guy.
I'm with you, and I'm convinced also, conversely, that Ebron can be that guy based on what we've seen in training camp. He's been very good, and I think you'll see quite a bit of good things from him once the season rolls around. That's what we got for today. Win for the Lions, if that even matters. But we saw some good things from the offense, some concerning things from the defense, but also only about half the defense out there. So not a lot to take away, I think, on that side of the ball. But it'll be Zach Zenner mania for the next few days, and we'll be all over it, whether we like it or not. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We are online. Keep it right here.